Now, the trial of the NHS nurse Lucy Letby is continuing at Manchester Crown Court.
She wept as she told the court that she was devastated at being accused of murdering
7 young babies and the attempted murder of 10 others.
Asked by her defence lawyer if she'd done anything wrong, no, she replied.
She told the jury that she'd only ever done her best to care for the babies.
This is a podcast about one of the most anticipated criminal trials for years. It involves the most shocking of allegations, the alleged murders and attempted murders of tiny, premature babies at the hands of a neonatal nurse whose very job it was to look after them.
Lucy Letby is on trial at Manchester Crown Court, accused of killing 7 newborns and injuring 10 more at the Countess of Chester Hospital in Cheshire.
The jury has now been sitting for 8 months. Prosecutors have finished outlining their case, and the court has begun hearing from the defence on why they say Lucy Letby is not guilty of the 22 charges that she faces.
I'm Liz Hull, Northern correspondent for the Mail. I will be in court to report on the case as it develops.
And I'm Caroline Cheetham, a broadcast journalist. Every week, we'll examine what's happened and bring you the details behind the headlines.
This is the trial of Lucy Letby. So, it's been another busy week in court, despite the fact that there was another delay due to an issue with one of the jury. Lucy Letby has now spent 14 days in the witness box, and her cross-examination has now finished.
7 of the babies died, 10 survived. Every one of these babies was or is someone's son or daughter, and the mums, dads and families of every baby are present in court, listening to every detail of how their child was allegedly killed or harmed.
Welcome to episode 38, Dr. A.
So, Liz, we're here again on a Friday, and you'll know if you listen to us a lot that we tend to appear in your feeds on a Friday night when we know we can't wait until Monday to bring you up to date. So, here we are.
You'll have to bear with us as we're going off on a bit of a tangent today, because one of the things Nick Johnson KC focused on over the last day or so was Lucy Letby's relationship with Dr. A.
And Liz, this relationship or friendship is not just about sordid, irrelevant hospital gossip like the sort you hear in every workplace. According to the prosecution, it's much more fundamental than that.
Yes, and that's because Mr. Johnson has accused Lucy Letby of attacking babies on the neonatal unit to get Dr. A's attention, to get him into the room, to cause a drama so he would come running to help.
So let's back up a little bit. Dr. A has been referred to quite frequently in this case so far, and for those of you who have been following us, you'll be very aware of his involvement in many of the babies in this case when they collapsed. Now, we know he isn't being identified in the court, so we can't name him, which is why we've been calling him Dr. A. He was a registrar on the unit, and we know from Facebook and WhatsApp messages, which have been shown to the jury, that he and Lucy Letby were pretty close.
Yes, we should stress that she claims their relationship was purely platonic. She's admitted she loved him as a friend, and we've seen her write that on notes found at her house by the police. But on the first day he gave evidence to the court, she became quite upset and tearful and tried to leave the dock. She only agreed to continue after a short, hushed conversation with her solicitor.
And as we know that Dr. A had been involved in trying to resuscitate some of the babies who collapsed.
Yes, we already knew that on a number of occasions when babies on the unit collapsed, it was Dr. A who was crash bleeped to attend. What Mr. Johnson has now alleged to the court is that Lucy Letby murdered and deliberately harmed some of the children in order to get Dr. A into the room.
In fact, he claimed that she enjoyed the drama.
Yes, Mr. Johnson referred to Dr. A as her boyfriend, and he insisted she had a crush on him. He accused her of enjoying being in a crisis situation with him.
Did you enjoy being in these crisis situations with Dr. A?
No.
Did it give you something to talk to him about and message him about?
No. Dr. A and I were friends.
Something in common you could share?
No.
Now, you might remember that after the 2 triplets, baby O and baby P, died, she and Dr. A exchanged a lot of messages, sometimes late into the night, talking about what happened and why they may have collapsed and died.
Mr. Johnson also reminded the jury of a series of text messages that she'd exchanged with her colleague on June the 2nd. The nurse, who's a woman who we can't name but who's been described as Lucy Letby's best friend, was teasing her about Dr. A.
Had strange message from Dr. A earlier.
Did you? Saying what? Go commando. Laughing face.
Laughing emojis. Asking when I was working next week, as wants to talk to me about something. Has a favour to ask?
Think he likes you too? Did you not ask what it was?
No, just said when I was working, and he said wants my opinion on something. Thinking emoji. Do you think he's being odd?
Thought as flirty as you.
Shut up.
What?
I don't flirt with him.
Okay.
Certainly don't fancy him. Haha. Just nice guy.
So it was these messages that Mr. Johnson honed in on this week, because he said they showed her feelings for Dr. A went further than friendship, and he alleged that her friend knew it too.
She knew you were sweet on Dr. A, didn't she?
There was nothing between me and Dr. A.
Did she think you were sweet on Dr. A?
What do you mean by sweet?
Had a crush on him?
No.
Go commando. What does that mean? Is it a reference to the Royal Marines?
I don't know.
Go commando. You don't know what that means?
No.
Well, you understood it because you found it highly amusing. What did you understand that message to mean?
I don't know. I can't say right now.
Do justice to yourself. What did you understand go commando to mean?
I don't know.
Did you think it was an army reference, you being from Hereford?
I don't know.
And of course, for anyone who doesn't know, go commando means to not wear any underwear.
Later on, Mr. Johnson reminded her that she'd become upset when Dr. A came to court to give evidence for the first time, as we mentioned at the top of the episode.
You tried to go out the back door of the dock?
Yes, because I felt unwell.
No, it's because you didn't like hearing your boyfriend giving evidence, did you?
That's not fair.
Did Mr. Johnson say why all this was so relevant to his case and not just idle hospital gossip?
Yes, he did. He says that she attacked some of the babies in order to get him into the room because as the registrar on duty, he would be called to any emergencies.
He also reminded the jury of text messages exchanged between her and Dr. A on the morning of June the 23rd, 2016. This was the day that the first triplet, baby O, died. Now, we're going to say more about baby O in Monday's episode next week, but in one message, Lucy Letby wrote boo when Dr. A told her he was in a clinic until late morning.
Were you disappointed he wasn't there?
Yes, I enjoyed working with Dr. A.
Did you want to get his attention?
No.
Is that the reason you sabotaged baby O?
No.
Mr. Johnson said that later on in the exchange, she wrote that it was a bit rubbish that Dr. A wasn't working on the neonatal unit that day. And just a reminder, this was her first shift back after a short break in Ibiza.
Were you missing him?
No, this was my first day back at work.
Baby O collapsed twice in the afternoon of that shift, and Mr. Johnson suggested that Lucy Letby sabotaged his care deliberately.
Were you trying to get his attention?
Yes, I wanted him to review baby O.
His personal attention as well?
No, Dr. A was the registrar on the unit that day.
Later on that evening, the two exchanged Facebook messages after they both went home.
Phew. Not the first day back you were expecting. I was glad you were there. Everything felt safe. Thank you for looking out for me.
No, but it happens. Don't need to thank me. I'm pleased you were there. Think we work well together. Sorry for my loss of composure moment.
I was trying to say thanks for checking I was okay. We do work well together. I'm glad you could talk to me, and I hope I helped.
That's okay. Good to talk it through, otherwise carry it round.
And remember, she's also accused of murdering his brother, baby P, less than 24 hours later.
He first collapsed around 9:40 a.m. in the morning, just over 2 hours after Lucy Letby began her shift.
Dr. A was working in the children's ward that morning. Lucy Letby knew that because they'd been messaging each other from around 7 a.m. And he joked, "It was big children for me today."
But Mr. Johnson reminded the jury that Dr. Tony Uko told them that when baby P collapsed, she was very keen for Dr. A to be called to the unit immediately.
Do you remember Dr. Uko saying in the 5 minutes between his ward round and the collapse, baby P was in a very different condition? He said you were very keen for Dr. A to be called.
In his opinion.
You just told us Dr. A wasn't even due to be in the neonatal unit.
No, he wasn't. It was discussed that Dr. A was present with baby O the day before, and his expertise was needed.
That's not quite the way Dr. Uko put it.
That's his opinion.
Were you trying to attract Dr. A's attention?
No.
So that was going to be it for this episode, but then today in court, that all changed because we got more information about the relationship between Dr. A and Lucy Letby.
She told the court that Dr. A is married, and after she was removed from the neonatal unit, she continued to meet him regularly, including at least 5 times in late May and early June 2017, almost a full year after she was moved into the admin job that she said she hated.
They met for coffee at Starbucks, they went for a meal at an American-themed restaurant close to the River Dee in Chester, they went shopping at Cheshire Oaks, and they had time in Hertford, a small town 16 miles away.
They also went to London together on June the 8th, 2017, and the jury was shown text messages between them, arranging to meet up later that day, which they'd both signed off with a love heart.
But she insisted they didn't stay overnight in London and Dr. A was not her boyfriend.
The 8th of June 2017 was your away day, wasn't it?
No.
Mr. Johnson pointed out the love heart emojis and said,
But he wasn't your boyfriend.
No, it's not a relationship at all. It's a friendship.
The court also heard that they planned to return to London at the end of September 2017, but they were forced to cancel the trip because Dr. A had a medical appointment.
And later, when Mr. Johnson questioned her about why she'd written on that note found at her house by police that she didn't think she'd ever have a family, she appeared to accept that he was her boyfriend.
You had a good job working in the patient safety department at the Countess of Chester Hospital.
When you say good job, it wasn't a choice for me.
Different job, still a good job.
Yes.
You had a house, a car, a boyfriend.
Yes.
Why would you never know what it was like to have a family?
That's how I felt at the time.
So that really is it now for this extra episode. We'll be back on Monday as usual to bring you the details of the rest of Mr. Johnson's cross-examination of Lucy Letby. He's now finished questioning her about the babies in this case, so we'll be outlining next week more about babies K to Q.
We'll hear that Lucy Letby agreed that if baby L had been poisoned with insulin, it was done deliberately, but not by her.
We'll also explain why she claimed staffing issues could have caused baby M to collapse.
We'll find out more about why handover sheets were found under her bed during a police search.
And we'll explain why the prosecution say baby N had blood in his throat.
I'll be back in court as usual, and you can read my reports in the Mail and on Mail Plus. You can also follow me on Twitter @LizHull.
You can give us a rating and you can share the podcast. You can also follow us on Twitter @Lucy Letby Trial or follow me @Radio Caroline. Or send us an email at thetrialoflucyletby@gmail.com.
See you then.